Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out this video. I have been gone for a while, going through some changes, but most importantly, losing someone who was very important to me in my life. Someone that I love very dearly, and in life we lose people who are important to us. And I think it happened right around when I started doing these videos, so I had to take some time for myself to regroup, um, and to put myself in the headspace that I could continue to forefront the fight for um, starting a dialogue amongst single people so that way we can grow and embrace these happy, loving, and long term relationships that most single people want. Um, Especially ones who are actually looking for relationships and not just looking to Netflix and chill or just to kick it. I'm talking about people that want productive, who want mutually beneficial. Keyword being mutual, because everybody has something that's valuable to them. Not I get what I want up front and I give you what you want when you feel like it. I think that's a thing these days where you meet people and they're like, oh well, up front, I expect you to be a husband. I expect you to have a lot of money. I expect you to be educated. I expect you to have 50 million things going on. But I'll show my hand if I feel like it. But if I don't, then I still expect you to maintain 100% of what you're supposed to do. So mutually benefiting means we benefit equally. I'm not ever going to advocate for people moving faster than they're comfortable with, but at the same time, you move at a pace that is equally fair to the person you're trying to get to know. And that's a topic that we'll hit down the line. Today's topic I want to touch on is dating, making time for dating. Matter of fact, one of my first videos was about dating and making time for dating and relationships and the things that are important to people who are single, because too often we get caught up in everything that is going on. We get too caught up into being so busy, work, school, kids, personal life, and the people that we love and take care of in between, that we forget to make time for ourselves. I was once speaking to a young lady the other day who told me the importance of her trying to find a husband, but she works 7 days a week and she barely sleeps an hour to a day. And so I was counseling her on the importance of making the time for dating, because if you're so busy that you only get an hour or two of sleep yourself, because you're working 7 days a week, because you're doing several different things, then how do you expect to make the time for someone once you meet someone? Because too often we don't understand the facets of dating is a two-person intricate point. It's I have to meet someone and then I have to maintain that relationship that I'm trying to build for the both of us. So you can't get so caught up in I have so much going on, because as long as we live, there's always going to be a lot going on. There's always going to be many different things that are going to envelop your time, that are going to envelop your nature, that's going to take you away from the things that are important to you. And I think that's why we have to be more understanding of what's important to us, by prioritizing. If dating isn't a priority to you, then you're probably not going to take it as seriously as someone who puts dating as the forefront of their priority. So, with that said, making time for dating should be a top priority. Uh, if you have kids, after your kids, if you believe in God or don't believe in God, but whatever your religious or moral compass is, should always come first, because your religion or moral compass lays the foundation of uh, of that relationship of dating. After that comes time, making the time for that person. I mean, I put God first, I put my morals first. Now that I have the foundation, now I have to make time for what matters to me, and that is, the person that I want to be with. I want to find somebody that loves me. I want to find somebody that appreciates me. I want to find somebody that's going to offer me the things that I have been missing my entire life. And not necessarily saying that no one else can give it to you, because we often hear a lot about, God can give you the happiness that no one else can. And that may be true, but at the end of the day, not getting religious, but just talking about the literature, the words in the Bible, the purpose of Eve was to help make Adam to supplement his loneliness, because God understood the importance of having someone there, and not being alone. And though being single people, we get so used to being, not we, but I'm just saying single people in general, get so used to being by themselves that you tend to forget, like, there's life beyond work, there's life beyond kids, there's life beyond caretaking, and that life is your life. Your life matters, and I think that that's the facet in which we have to bring closer. You have to understand, I gotta live for myself, and not saying that you shouldn't do things to help other people, but there comes a point in which you have to understand you have to put yourself first, because at the end of the day, it's important that we understand that we have to find someone to love us as much as we love ourselves. I volunteered for years at nursing homes through my church. And one thing that I would see very often are single women, unfortunately, who did not make the time to find a husband or find love, who ended up in the nursing home because they were in a situation where they didn't, unfortunately, have that person that they married, or should have possibly met someone to love and care about them, to the point where they would have been taken care of regardless, whether it's a man who can still be stable enough in his physical being to take care of you, or someone that's financially stable enough to take care of you on a continuous basis, so you would not have to end up in the nursing home. Um, Most men tend to think of things down the line of that nature, which is why, to the average guy, dating is a lot more than just going out, getting a drink, and having a good time, but it's more of finding someone who wants the same thing out of the deal that we want, which is love, which is affection, which is longevity, which is marriage. And it's not necessarily be kids, because too often you hear about kids, and a question, that you hear very often, um, is, you hear women ask men, hey, do you want children? Thinking that the pinnacle of what every man wants is a child, and it's not. The pinnacle of what men want is somebody that's going to be there for them long term. So there comes a point in which we have to separate those things that are going on in our lives, and make time for the things that should matter or will eventually matter. And love is one of those things. Making time for a relationship, making time for someone that wants to spend time with you, making time for meeting someone in the first place, whether it's joining a dating site, whether it's going out to, small parties. Obviously, there's still social distancing going on. Uh, making time to go to the park, or like, I tell a lot of men, join organizations, volunteering groups. I tell a lot of young men, join, you know, parties that have to do with helping people and making the world a better place, because you tend to meet people in environments that tend to align with what you want. And a part of that is making sure that you meet people who want what you want. So find somebody who enjoys the things you enjoy through different activities. That's why hobbies are so important. I meet a lot of men and I have to talk to them about the importance of finding a hobby. Staying at home, being bored with nothing to do really isn't a hobby. You have to go out and meet people in a place where you can enjoy each other, where you can meet each other and have similar interests, so that way we're doing the same thing together and growing and building that relationship. So some of the important things that I talked about in this message is making time for love, making time for dating, where you can kind of go to meet people if you don't have anybody, and where to start. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope to talk to you guys soon. And today, peace.